Okay, second question. How to begin estate planning? What should I do to get that started?
Basically, the best time to think about estate planning is really anytime. So I'm actually not particularly old, but I am at the point in my life where I have a professional job and working as an attorney, and I'm looking at worrying about estate planning. I've actually purchased life insurance that benefits my parents. I don't have any kids. So I've actually purchased it that benefits my parents, and I've contacted each one of my parents and let them know, there's a life insurance policy in your name. If I were to pass, go ahead and look for it. So I'm at the point where I would be looking at estate planning, even though I'm young. It's definitely a good time for anybody because we never know when we're going to pass. So one of the things that really brought that to light for me is one of my best friends. And actually, at the time that this happened, I was living with this person. So my friend got cancer, and it was a really rare and odd form of cancer. And he ended up passing within 9 months. He was not 25 when this happened, he was 24.
No.
And so we really never know when something is going to happen and it's going to cause us to have these issues. It's important, no matter what age you are, to have some sort of plan as long as you have any form of assets. So in the case of my friend, he didn't own a house or anything, but he owned a car. He had a bank account that had more than $10,000 in it. He had life insurance policies. And he had, all of the stuff that he had amassed in life. And so it was still a process for me to be able to work with his parents and his sibling to be able to distribute all those assets. So even if you don't think that you have enough for it to be worth a will or a living trust or anything like that, if you have really any assets, it's worth taking the time to go ahead and make sure that things go the way that you want them to go.
So this is a common misunderstanding, right? I got a lot of inquiries and people ask, oh, I don't have a lot of assets. Do I really need this? So Katie just answered the questions. Doesn't matter about how many assets do you have. As long as you have some assets, once anything happened to you, right, your beneficiary has to go through the probate.
Yes. And in the case of my friend who's only 24, so I said he owned a car, he had paid for it right out. He wanted that car to go to his brother because his brother didn't have a car. He also had the bank account. So he wanted the bank account full amount to go to the brother, and he wanted the vehicle to go to the brother. And then the parents were beneficiaries of the life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
So they would get more through the life insurance.
Yeah.
So in his particular case, since he died intestate, technically, the way that would work in the state of Texas is everything went to his parents. And so if his parents, for whatever reason, decided that they didn't want to benefit his brother, even though that was his wishes, his brother would not have gotten the access to the bank account, and the brother would not have gotten the vehicle, which was actually the wishes of the decedent because he didn't bother to write it down in a will.
Yeah, that is against her will. So if she wants to make everything simple, at least she needs a will or a living trust or both, right, to make the process easier for everybody.
Correct. And so one of the things that it does is it can cement your wishes as far as where things would go. But the other thing that a living will or a trust is good for is if you care about your loved ones that would be heirs, so the people that would be inheriting your stuff. If you want to make things easier for them, which a lot of people do, what you can do is set up that trust or living will or both to be able to make sure that the process goes as smoothly as it can for those people. We talked a little bit about that in some of our previous videos.
So I always say this to the clients who come to our office. They're great because they're doing this for their loved ones. They're not actually doing this for themselves.
Well, and really the first step to be able to set up estate planning is to think to yourself about how you would like your assets to be distributed. Once you've thought to yourself about it for a little bit, the next step that you need to do is reach out to an attorney, find one that works for you as far as estate planning. Obviously, we at Springdale Law work in all 50 states, and we're more than happy to work with you. So you'd reach out to the attorney, and typically the way that it's going to work is you'll have an initial session where you're going to talk with that attorney about what your wishes are, what your assets are, and how you want things to work. At that point, the attorney will speak to you about the different options that you have. So in most cases, I would suggest that the best way of doing it is to have a living trust, which a lot of people don't necessarily understand, and I'll talk about in a second, and also a will. So a lot of people understand what a will is. It's a physical writing that manifests what the wishes of the decedent are. So when you die, it tells the court where you want your assets to go, where you want the things that you had to go.